Lori Land said triple ale. Yeah, some of you, this is the third night with me this week. Holy cow, that's a lot. That's a lot for me. That's a lot for you guys to have you with me. You know what I mean? For you to be with me 3 times in a week. That's a lot, right? We'll talk about that in a sec. All right, just give it here a second here for the YouTube to catch up with me. Um, it'll be here in a second. I know I'm live. It sometimes takes, I don't know, I'm usually about maybe 30 seconds behind. And I don't know, before it shows. So now it's coming. All right, friends. Hello, hello. Here we go. All right. Okay, now you can see me. Hi, guys. Happy Thursday. Nice to have you here, whether you are joining live or whether you are watching the replay. Welcome. We are here in this video live, and then Memorex, the replay version, to set up our traveler's notebooks for the month of June using the spring summer season pass. This year, starting in January, I have made all of my season pass classes so far this year. So this will be the sixth one. This will be hello. This June's the sixth one. So this will be the sixth one. This will be the sixth one. Whether you purchased any of the season pass kits themselves, or you purchased any of the a la carte products, or maybe you're just like, hey, I just want to see what this is all about. I want to see what Lael does. I want to see how Lael uses the products personally. Maybe just get some ideas or take a look at the products and think, hey, you know what? Next time I want to pick that up because everything we're using tonight is sold out. I think with the exception of the paper pack. I think we have maybe 12 paper packs or something like that. Otherwise, everything else, if I remember correctly, maybe a stamp or two. But it's pretty much cleaned out. You guys pretty much cleaned us out. We were more or less sold out of everything with the spring summer season pass at the beginning of May, which it just mind blowing to me because it's meant to be used for April, May, June. So if you guys sold it out beginning of May, that means we're doing it good things. So I love that. You guys are really seem to be happy and pleased with the way the designs are going in season pass this year. So thank you. So there are two things actually we're going to do tonight. And you may not have seen my little post in the Facebook group, the Loyal by Mail Facebook group. I don't know, maybe 2 hours ago, hour and a half ago. A couple of emails went out. If you purchased the season pass kit, you would have received 2 emails over the last, I don't know, probably 2 weeks, reminding you about class tonight. An email went out to all of my email subscribers last week about 2 new free classes. This was one of the two. And then a reminder email went, I don't know, lots of emails, lots of things to make sure that you're aware. Also, if you purchased the free class and it purchased the free class, I also sent you an email just to remind you because we're here tonight. If you're making it live, welcome to you. There's a live chat that takes place in the well, in the video. So if you want to pop in and say hello, I would love it if you would say hi. So I know you're here. And if you're watching the replay, welcome to you. I know life gets busy and not everyone is able to watch live. So love that you have the option of watching the replay. Anyhow, back to the Facebook post I put in earlier in the Little by Mail Facebook group. I said, and hey, guess what's in the house? The summer fall season pass. All the products are here. They're in stock. They will go live. They will release on Friday, June 5th. But I brought them home with me. I mean, obviously not all of them. I brought some. I brought a few home with me, and I thought when we're done setting up our traveler's notebook, that I will give you a little sneak peek if you guys would like to see what summer fall looks like. I think you guys are gonna love it. And there's something really fun that you're going to see with it that we haven't done before. That is going to lead into something else that will be released that has something to do with it a little bit later this year. So I know, just I'm vague booking, right? I'm just kind of giving you. Anyhow, so welcome. I'm very quickly going to take a look at the chat. I will see who is here. I'm going to be doing my best tonight to really keeping an eye, especially when I rotate the camera, keeping an eye on what I am doing and what you guys see. A couple people mentioned this is their third time with me this week. On Tuesday, I started teaching the Let's Go mini book project kit. That class goes along with my Let's Go mini book project. Also, If I keep looking kind of out of the corner of my eye, I'm just watching the screen to make sure we're still here. This will make sense in a minute. But also, I made that class free to anyone who'd like to watch it as we're doing this season pass classes this year. Friday, big storm here at our little house, and trees that were almost blowing sideways, lots of really heavy rain, and we had some connection issues that got to the point. I think we were on about 3 hours maybe on Tuesday night, and just got to the point where it wasn't working anymore. We kept really getting interrupted, and so I stopped it. We set up another one. It just wasn't going to work, so we did part two last night, which would have been Wednesday night, and then we actually had to do a part three because after about 2 hours in, kind of the same thing started happening. So uh, we've done some work today. We have moved the router, so it is now sitting next to me in this room. Nick did a couple more things. We researched some things. We're still kind of researching some things. We've got some. Um, I completely powered off my phone, powered it back on. After this weekend, I will take YouTube off of my phone and take it back on. We're not quite sure what's going on. So we're going to cross our fingers and hope that everything is good tonight, right? Hopefully it's good. All right, so let me take a look at the chat and see who's here, and then we will dive right in. Hello, Maritza. Jen's happy place is here from the Chicago Burbs. Carrie from Spokane. She said weather is supposed to get wickedly crazy where she is tonight. Stay safe. I hope you're okay. Hope everything's okay. Good evening, Linda. Joanne creates. Lori Land. Let's see. Joanne said sunny in Florida, even at 8 p.m. Love this time of year, right? I just love it. But then I start to also get sad. I'm like, oh no, I guess this is glass half empty, Lael. I'm like, oh no, that means in less than a month we're gonna start going down the other side again, right? Where the days start getting darker. I love the summer. I'm not a huge fan of the winter and the shorter days. So let's be positive. We've still got lots of days of sunshine left and bright light, right? Joanne said you really need to hydrate tonight. I do. I have, looky, I have two. I have two tonight, two big ones. That my friends at Doodlebug made for me at an event that I was teaching at. So this one is a little bit stronger than my water. This one has, I made my own like dirty diet Dr. Pepper. So it is diet Dr. Pepper with like the coconut cream diet Dr. Pepper, and then I put some lime in it. So it's kind of good. I try not to drink a lot of soda, but Reggie's been causing me some problems at night. Reggie the cat, not the husband. So I haven't been getting a lot of sleep. So I'm double dosing on the caffeine, which now that it's 6 p.m. my time is probably not a good idea because I'm perpetuating the whole problem. I won't be able to go to sleep until late because of the caffeine, and you know the drill. You know the drill. So yes, I will hydrate. I will try to drink more water than this. So. Mm-mm-mm. Hi, Susan. Susan from Atlanta. Susan's been with us the last two nights. Hello, Jessica Michaels. I love that. Jessica, I love it when my creative team just kind of pops in. I don't know if they're going to do that. So, Jessica's one of the amazingly creative people on my creative team, and she takes my products and creates amazing projects with them and examples and things like that. So you will see a lot of her work on the website under a lot of the products. So thank you. I love it that you're here, Jessica. Fun to have you. Hi, Kathy. Kathy, also 3 nights in a row. I'm sorry. Please tell your families and friends and pets that I'm sorry. I hate to take up all your time this week. Let's see. Hi, Sandra. Louisa. Hello. Louisa was with us all 3 nights as well. Wanda, the new season pass gets released on Friday, June 5th. And I will tell you guys, and I will try to shout this from the rooftop so everyone is aware. This is what we did when we did the spring summer season pass, the one that we're working with tonight. I'm separating kind of the release a little bit. So we do mid-month releases every month, for the most part, with our new stamps and dies. Season Pass, we try to separate it from that a little bit. So Season Pass will go live Friday, June 5th, and then our mid-month release of our new stamps will go live on June 15th, which I believe is a Monday, I think. So if you are buying season pass, you're like, ooh, I kind of want to wait and see what comes out mid-June. Just let us know when you place your order, or if you already bought the whole season pass, just let me know before the 5th so we can hold your order back if you want to wait to see what else is coming and save on shipping. Okay. Hello, Mama Boys. Wendy McTurk. Hello, hello. Melissa Starr. Hi, nice to see you. Bev Morgan from Central Illinois. While you guys are here, while I'm kind of just saying hi to everybody, thumbs up. If you'd give the video a thumbs up, I would sure love it. I'd sure love it. Joyce can't wait for the preview of season pass summer fall. I can't wait to share it. Joanne's excited about sneak peek. Virginia, hello, hello. Another steamy day, steamy in Decatur, Georgia. I hope you just stay cool, right? Stay inside. Mary C. Plans is also from Georgia. Georgia's a big state. I mean, wouldn't that be weird though if you guys were like, in the same city? Hello, Michelle. Ann P from Florida. Uh, Virginia, the top. Amazon, Amazon. Shoot me an email. I'll send you the link. It's very inexpensive. So, but no color. I have no color on today except for lips and earrings. So, generally I try to have color on because I just kind of blend to the background if I don't, but get what you get tonight, right? Hi, Tracy. Thank you, Tracy. Tracy's been with us all 3 days too. She said, hi, Alea. Love being with you all week. I love having you guys here with me, whether it's just tonight or 1 or 2 nights earlier this week, or maybe it's, a Tuesday, a year down from the road, and you're just watching this now. Thank you. Hi, Sherry. Let's see. I love that you guys are greeting each other too. That always makes me so happy to see. Leah's Plans is so excited to be here tonight. Started from Georgia. Ready. You didn't start from Georgia. You are excited to get started. You're from Georgia. I get it. Da, 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 da. Oh my goodness, isn't that interesting? Louisa said she recently saw a list of popular names. Layla, not Layla. Layla's never on any kind of list like that. Layla is like within the top 50. That's very surprising. Yeah, it is kind of even Layla's kind of a different name. Leah, hello. All right, all right, all right. Just, I think I've got everyone, right? I think I grabbed everyone. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to rotate the camera. I will plug in so we have power, and let's dig in, okay? Let's dig in. Mm-mm-mm. Let's see. Virginia said, I'm the opposite, tall, but just can't handle too many people around me. Here's a little tidbit if you didn't know. One of the things that I hear most often when people meet me in person is, "Oh my gosh, you're so tall. I thought you were short." I mean, they don't say I thought you were short, but that's really what they're thinking. Um, I am somewhere between 5'8" and 5'10", depending on the day. I used to be 5'10". I just plugged this in so we shouldn't have any more shaky. I used to be 5'10". The older I get, now my doctor says, no, you're not. You are 5'8". And I'm like, no, I haven't lost 2 inches. I haven't shrunk 2 inches, right? But apparently she thinks I have. And I'm always like, you know what? I lost our chat. What happened here? Oh, okay, hang on. I'd really like to find that again because if I don't have that chat, I can't see you guys. All right, bear with me 1 second. Oh, there we go. Okay, I gotcha. I gotcha. All right. 4'11", Wanda, you are 4'11". Oh, you're just a petite thing, right? Growing up, and this is how it always was. I think people that were on the more petite side wanted to be tall, and I always wanted to be short. I mean, I still have the worst posture, but I really work hard at it because I was always like crouching because I didn't want to be as tall. And so let's see. Virginia said I'm 5'8", my 5'9". My doc said 5'8". I don't believe her. Kathy is 5'1". Oh, I love it. All right. Okay, so what we're gonna do first, we need to move out. Oh gosh, sorry. I need to pay attention there. We're just a little bit crooked. Let's get straight there. All right. We are going to move out of May. So this was my May setup. Oh, I'm so sad to move out of May. I loved these bees. I'm still, shouldn't say was, they're still there. I am in love with these bees. They make me so happy. Okay, come on. I have to make sure that as I'm talking, I keep moving my hands so I don't think that we've lost our internet connection. I think we're good. So Because it's a new month, I need to move out of the month of May. What I'm going to start out by doing is removing these slip covers from my traveler's notebook inserts. Now, I always create two versions of the exact same thing. So I have two versions of May. Um, I have one version that's fake, right? And when I say fake, I mean there's nothing in it, right? Because it's a second version. None of us, most of us don't need two versions, right? And that's the one I've got both these mixed up. I've got a fake one in here and I grabbed the calendar earlier because I needed, anyhow, long story. Here is my second one. So I need to remove the slip covers. And that's the beauty when we are doing slip covers. They come off so easily. And now we can do whatever we want with this, right? We could use the pattern paper to work in our listing travelers notebooks. We could do something like this little guy and cut around it and create a greeting card, put it on a card front and call it good. Lots of different things that we can do with all this beautiful pattern, right? Because it's still totally usable. Even this guy, all of it is totally usable. So I always encourage you to save your slip covers and do something with them after the fact, regardless of what kind of crafting you're doing, whether it's working in a traveler's notebook or a mini book or um, scrapbook page, whatever it is, right? All right. So I am not going to worry right now about taking any of this out. I won't kind of unload any of this because I am not using this traveler's notebook cover for the month of June. I am using a different one. So I'm not going to bother doing that right now. I will tell you guys, we have been so busy with new product development. We just submitted artwork today for five, count them, five brand new Traveler's Notebook covers. So five new designs that let's see, it's May, almost June. So those will probably, I'm going to say those will probably release September-ish, depending on how long they take to be manufactured because they're all sewn, right? How long they take to be manufactured. And don't worry, it's not me sitting in my basement trying to sew them. Um, there's a factory that, does that for us. But with five designs, and there will be a lot of all five designs. So it'll take a hot minute, and then they'll go on a boat and get to us. So probably I'm going to say probably September. Are the bees the bees are not on one of them, Mary? Wouldn't that be so fun though? Um, that's an interesting, we really hadn't even thought about maybe using the bees. That could be cool. Um, maybe I'll kind of bookmark that in the back of my mind and we'll see. All right. So I have moved out. I am going to be using the Floral Garden. This is an oldie but a goodie. This was our first release, part of our first release of Traveler's Notebook covers. And that was been, oh my gosh, was that 3 years ago now, maybe? These are, I think this is the only design that we have left of that release. Anyhow, because I don't now have a lot of really springy, summery covers. Hint, hint. You might see a couple covers that are coming out that would work really year round, but would work kind of for spring, summer if you like to change your covers out. All right. Um, Unpacking. Oh yeah, sorry. Got sidetracked. Let's get out our trimmers. All right. We need to cut our paper. So, depending on how much of your season pass that you have used up until this point, if you are working with it, we are down to the last four papers. This was really hard for me to decide what I wanted to use because I love all of these patterns. I love the sun. This one, oh my gosh. I mean, this is like a fussy cutter's dream. You could cut out all of those little squares and do so many fun things with it. You will see me do something with this. I'm going to say probably not Saturday because I've already planned my list for this coming Saturday, May 30th. But you'll see me do something with this paper. I want to say maybe mid-June. So stay tuned with that. Um, this little guy, the cute beach balls, right? And then on the back side, just kind of that fun, almost, I mean, it's not water, right? But it could kind of working along with some of these other things kind of represent water. This guy, that striped rainbow, just love that striped rainbow so much. Backside of that is the orange polka dot. And then we have our cut apart cards. So let's grab our trimmer. And we are going to cut apart three of the four papers. Generally, when we are setting up our traveler's notebook for a month, we are using three papers, which means you will have, you may, I shouldn't say you will, you may have an extra paper. Let's start with this guy. This is the cut apart cards. It's a combination of 3x4s and 4x6s, as you can see. And I'll use kind of an assortment of these, both in decorating the pockets of my traveler's notebook, and then also decorating the traveler's notebook inserts, the slip covers. So we're just going to go ahead and cut all those cards apart. There are two 4x6s and then eight of the 3x4s. How's your week been? We're almost to Friday, right? It is Thursday night. If you're watching live, it is Thursday night. Wondering if some of those little images fit inside your postage stamps items. That is a good question, Susan. Um, these guys, I'm going to say probably these little tiny guys like that. Something like that would probably fit inside. Certainly something like that would fit inside. Yes, some will, but there are some that definitely won't. Like some of these are a little bit bigger. Um, you might just need to play. I haven't played with these yet to know if they would fit in some of those little the postage stamps or not. But there's another something, you guys, like if you saw the list of everything that we have coming out this year, you'd be like, holy cow. It's been a lot. It has been a lot, but there's a really cool tool. There's actually three really cool tools coming. One, two, three cool tools. Cool tools, that rhymes. Three cool tools. One of them has something to do with postage stamp. It's really hard for me to keep secrets, you guys. Really hard for me to keep secrets. I won't tell you, but I won't show you either. All right. So we've cut those apart. Now we need to make a decision. We need two patterns to do our slip covers. The two patterns that I decided to use, this guy. So I used that beautiful sunburst for one of my slip covers, and I had to use the rainbow. I mean, even though I kind of have sunbursts, which are, chunky stripes, and then I have the chunky stripe. I couldn't not use those. So those are the two patterns that I will be using for my slip covers. But you obviously have lots of other choices, right? You have the B sides, and you also have your beach balls, and then the B side of that. So maybe you're like, sun's not really my thing. That combination would be really fun. This combination would be really fun if you wanted to go more of the orange and yellow route. Um, Now I'm trying to think of what else I had here. This combination would be fun, right? So you have lots of different options on how you might do your slip covers. But I am going to use these two guys. Carrie, you're 12 and a half. Oh, yeah, I just saw that. 12 and a half days. We're doing the countdown. Carrie shared that with us last night, that she's 12 and a half days away from retirement. And I am going to toot your own horn, Carrie, for you. Carrie's been a teacher for 20 years. So we just appreciate our teachers so much, don't we? All right. So congratulations, Carrie. When we are trimming our papers for our traveler's notebook uh, insert slip covers. Our traveler's notebook inserts are standard wide. They are 5 by 8.25. So we need to trim the height of our paper to 8.25. Now, this is a horizontal stripe. So there's really two ways this could work for me. It could either work this way, wrapped, right? Wrapped around my insert, and I would cut it down here. Or it would work this way wrapped around my insert and I would cut it down here. Now, for me, there's a way that I definitely don't want to do it. For me personally, I don't want to do it this way because when my stripes are vertical, look what happens. I lose all this beautiful color down here. So when I'm looking at a pattern that has a direction or an orientation to it, I will think about how do I want it to look on my slip cover. So with this guy, I am going to rotate it and I am going to trim it. So it is 8¼ inches tall. 8¼ inches tall again, because that is the height of our traveler's notebook insert. Now, I still am going to lose a little bit of this beautiful color. I don't really have a choice, right? I really can't help it. I either take off a little bit of this and get more blue. I'm either going to have a little bit more blue or a little bit more pink. If you are using the same paper for a slipcover, if you decide you wanted to maybe bop down a little, maybe like 1.5 inches or 2, so you get a little bit more of the blue, you do you. You choose what you want to do. But I have cut it at 8¼ high. And you'll notice I am keeping the width at 12. We're not trimming the width at all. So this piece is 12 inches wide by 8¼ tall. Virginia said, I agree on rotating the paper, especially if there is handwriting or another pretty detail, right? And sometimes we just have to look at it maybe once or twice to figure out what we think we might want it to look like. Now, this is what we have left over, right? This piece I am using as a pocket stuffer, just to add a little bit more color right there, that little side pocket. So I'm going to trim this piece to 8 inches tall. That is usually the height that I am using for my little side pocket stuffers. Now, I don't need this whole width. So if I wanted to trim a little bit of it off and use it for something else, really, I mean, I could probably get away with even 1.5 inches, just so that it would stay right there. Doesn't really, the pattern doesn't need to be underneath all this because we can't see it, right? All right. So those pieces I have, let's move all of those things off to the side. Now, this is interesting. When I did this, when I cut this paper, I was paying attention to where that sun would hit when I wrapped it around my traveler's notebook insert, right? So I was looking at it this way because I wanted it to be right there. And that was all fine and dandy, and it was super good, and you probably never even notice. But later, I realized that it's really upside down if I do that. The only way I knew that it was upside down was that my little hearts there are, they're doing yoga. Our little hearts are standing on their heads. And you know what I mean by that? They're upside down, right? So if I didn't want those hearts to be upside down, I really couldn't use this paper the way that I want to use it. So I'm not thinking about those guys as hearts. I am thinking about those guys as just kind of just little, tone on tone, almost like little circles. All right. So I am going to trim this one to 8¼ inches tall. So it sits right about there. You'll notice my sun is up here when I do that. 8¼ inches tall. So we end up with that beautiful part right there. Okay, which means I am not using this paper. You have that paper to do whatever you want with. I know some of you like to, you use more than 2 inserts. So if you use more than 2 inserts, you could use this one to cover an additional insert, like a third insert. Or maybe you're a scrapbooker, you've got loads of paper, well, loads of paper. You've got this one now to work with. And if you're a scrapbooker, then you've got all of these great papers to work with, right? The other thing I will point out, if you have not already used the cover, if you bought the whole season pass and haven't already used the cover, let me see if I can find that here. Hang on one sec. I will keep talking so you know you haven't lost me. The cover always has a usable pattern on the back. So this is the cover for spring summer. And that really fun kind of polka dot is also an available pattern. So don't forget that. If you haven't used that yet, how fun would those two be together, right? If you were doing those two together, even maybe with a little touch of blue in there, would really be fun, right? All right. So you've got some choices and you'll have some extras. We are done with actually, we need to do one more thing here. I need a little piece of this. Oh, not that guy. A little piece of this guy. So this is what I had left over after I cut my rainbow stripe. So out of this small piece, this big piece we're using as our pocket stuffer, so don't cut into that. But of what's left, I need a little piece that is 3 inches wide. So basically, I've just created for myself another 3x4 card, right? So I can use that as a pocket stuffer. All right, we are now done with our trimmer. So let's get that little guy out of the way and we will, oh, actually, nope, we're good. I was just looking at, it's been a little while since I designed this guy, so I had to refresh my memory on what I did. Okay, let's go ahead and let's start with our pockets. I kind of go back and forth on what we are doing. So, all of my traveler's notebook covers have the exact same inside, and this will be the case. I don't ever envision this changing. We've kind of set on the pocket configuration, set on your side pockets, but more importantly, set on the color or absence of color, right? There's really no color here. It's kind of a creamy white. This to me is really important as a user, as someone who uses my products and has been working with Traveler's Notebooks forever. I like to decorate the insides, right? I like to decorate the pockets. And regardless of what is on the front, I don't want the inside to prevent me from using it with whatever I want it to use. So what I mean by that, let's say this was a Christmas cover. Maybe there's, I don't know, Santa's on it or I don't know, whatever it is, but it's very much Christmas. The cover's very much Christmas. On the inside, if on the inside I have red stripes and green polka dots, it then very much makes this only usable for Christmas. It's Christmas on the outside, but the inside, it could really be whatever we want it to be, as long as it is neutral. As soon as we start putting pattern on the inside here, it tends to kind of limit to what you might use it for. So let's say we put a really, really, really bright purple on the inside of this. Might be harder for me to work in maybe a product that I wanted to use here if it was bright purple. So that will always be the same. If you are using a traveler's notebook cover that has a different pocket configuration, right? You'll just need to kind of modify things a little bit to fit your pocket configuration. All right, so when we do this, we start out with the cards. So we're going to add all the cards first to our pockets, and then we will come back. We'll need to do some stamping before we can add that bottom card. And then we will add our die cuts, and then we will kind of come in and finish up with the word strip stickers and or rub-ons. And then we'll do our inserts. All right. So I am going to set off to the side the 3x4 cards that I have used. So you can kind of see those. I'm going to line them up here. So you know you will have some options on what I have not used. So I haven't used that. I'll use that for something else. I love that. That is so fun. I'm also not using this guy. I am also not using this guy, but we'll talk about, well, I might as well talk about right now. Some of you might be thinking, Lael, how am I supposed to use a 4x6 card in something like this? It's really kind of too wide, right? It's a little bit too wide for me to use. Um, and it is in your pockets, unless you were to do something like this and cut it in half, and then you'd have a half to use. Um, but one of the things that you can do with something like this is fold it in half and put it in the middle of one of your inserts through the elastic. So I could have a nice, cute little piece like that just floating in the inside of my traveler's notebook. Or I could do something like this, where I am how would I do that one? I'd probably do this one. I don't know, maybe like, no, I can't do it that way. Let's think about that. So I could just adhere the side of this over here to the side so it would open up. And then when my page closes, then it closes. So you can still use 4x6 cards like this in your traveler's notebooks if you're primarily using traveler's notebook. The reason why we do some 4x6 cards in there is that we have some people that use season pass for pocket page scrapbooking. And Denise said, she makes a tip in, right? So basically, doing something like this, where you could add tip in tape right here, and it almost like creates a little hinge. And so you've just got another piece of real estate in your pages to put things on. Denise, I saw a question. Yes, we're going to share a sneak peek for the next season pass. We'll do that when we get this one all decorated, for sure, for sure. All right, so what else do we need? We've got that one, and then we've got a backside. Ooh, what is that? Let's look. Peek, peek, peek. Ah, backside is, uh, okay, hold on. Oh, it's the backside of this guy, right? I really felt like I didn't need to use this guy because we kind of already have it there, so I probably wouldn't use it there. So we're using this really pretty yellow and blue plaid. Those are the cards that I am using. You'll notice I've got two upside down. We'll talk about why I'll be using upside down. One, two, three, four, five. One, two, three, four, five. All right, there we go. So as we're working, I will have my finished traveler's notebook over to the right, and then we'll be working on the left. So right up at the top, I have this red card. And it's just, you'll see there's just a little pop. You just see a little pop of color right up there. If you are not using Season Pass to decorate a traveler's notebook, but you're just here hanging out to see maybe get some ideas for how to use the product, you know how I would use this? I would fussy cut that big circle out, and I would use that as I'd be using that as a die cut. I think that would be so fun. I love that. I also love all the little colors inside those little open parts of the letters. I think that just turned out so fun. But in this case, I am going to use it as a pocket stuffer. But I'll show you a little trick. If I cut with my little scissors or my trimmer right below that circle, and I'm just following that grid that's on there, so it's really easy. I can now use this for whatever I want and just use this little teeny tiny piece, because when you look at, we're only using a little teeny tiny snippet of that red. So I wanted to do that. I just kind of put this right up there and then continue building on top of it. So we'll do that. So you can do something with that other piece if you think you might want to. Hello, Leanne. She said, so excited. The now boarding stamps are coming back. Yes. Leanne, was that you last night that asked for that? Um, Someone this week, while I was teaching the Let's Go mini book project kit with my new far and wide travel collection, somebody said, Lael, didn't you used to have a stamp set that had those letters like that? And I said, yeah, we did. It's retired. And the person said, hey, it'd be really nice if you brought that back. And I said, hey, that's really easy to do. I mean, I can't just buy one, so I have to buy, a certain quantity, but that's really easy for me to do. And I'm like, you know what? That is a good idea, because we used that same alpha treatment in far and wide. So you guys can always ask. Sometimes it doesn't make sense for us to bring something back if we've already retired it, but that totally makes sense. Well, good. I love that. Joanne asked for it, and now Leanne is happy too. So love it. Thank you, Joanne. And I think Leanne is thanking you too. And then anybody else who gets a chance to pick up that stamp set that didn't get a chance to pick it up before. It's been out for a couple of years. I'd say probably 2 or 2.5 years. And now that we are doing monthly stamp releases, it 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 oh, sorry, got sidetracked there. It we've got to start retiring some stamps after a while, or we just start to have too many. And when I say we, I mean in the warehouse. It just becomes a lot. All right, this little guy is going in next. You'll notice right now, that little guy's just floating. I haven't done anything but just kind of set that right there. And Leanne said she is from Australia. Hello, Leanne. Where in Australia? I spent a little bit of time in Australia, probably back in 2006, maybe, when I worked for a company back then called not Simple Stories, Scenic Route. All right, so that I'm just going to tuck right in. It's getting hung up on something in there. I don't know what it is. It just does not want to go in anymore. And actually, now that I see it, I don't want it to go in anymore, because if it goes in much further, it's going to show where that little guy is not. So we'll leave that guy right there. Then we have our little orange polka dot. So I'm going to outline that. You'll notice I have been outlining. I take my little black Sharpie and I outline those little cards just because for me it looks like they're more finished. They look kind of raw to me if I don't do that. So there we go. And I'm not really worried right now about which direction they're kind of tilting. We're just kind of getting them in. Then we have this guy, and you have a choice. Obviously, you're only going to see part of what's in the pocket. And so I decided to put the blue and greens kind of in the pocket so I'd see more of the reds and pinks. And the reason for that is this. I'm using that green camera. And if I have this up there, we'll have a lot of green. And then I've used this blue here. So then we'd kind of have a lot of blue and green here. Choice, right? Decide which way you want it if you are using that card as a pocket stuffer. Decide which way you want it, and then go ahead and tuck that one in too. So we're just kind of getting our bases in so that we have something to decorate after we get them all in. All right, now we need to kind of change gears for a minute on our last card. So this card, if I'm using this for pocket page scrapbooking, or maybe I'm using it in my traveler's notebook on a page and I'm just either adhering it down or doing a tip in or something, maybe I'm adding this to a 12 by 12 scrapbook page, it works great this way. But for me, I want to be able to, I want to be able to stamp in this part right here, right? So I am going to forego all of this part right here. I am going to fold this piece over, I believe at the 1 inch mark, just shy of 1 inch. So if we look at it this way, basically I am going to kind of let's just do this, probably right in between that date and time. I'm just going to fold that right over. Oh, it needs to actually, that won't work. It needs to be right below that because I don't want that to show. So fold it right at that line, or score it if it's easier. Score, fold right at that line. So it's just shy of 3 inches. So all of the writing is above and this is below. Now I don't want you to cut it. If you cut it, then you've got to do something really different. We are using this little flap now that we've created. That is going to tuck into that bottom pocket. And then this is now going to sit on top of it. That now gives us a really great space to decorate, right? Otherwise, if it's here, it's really hard to kind of decorate that. You'll see there's a little spot there. Once I am done with this little guy, once it's all kind of decorated, I need to have a little bit of adhesive there so it will hold it down for the month. And usually from month to month, I just don't clean that off. If you have a little bit of adhesive on your traveler's notebook right there, be really gentle as you start to peel that away if you do want it to get off. If you are always putting something over it, I wouldn't mess with it. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to be kind of rubbing so hard trying to get that off that it actually peels up some of the pleather or the PU leather here, the fake leather, right? We don't want that to kind of come up with that little adhesive. So if you're pulling it off, just be careful, be gentle. All right. So I folded that over, but now I'm going to fold it up again. I want to make sure I know where my stopping point is. I don't want to stamp above that because I will lose it, but I also want to unfold it because it'll make it a lot easier for me to stamp if it's flat than if that's folded. So like everything I do, we're going to start out by doing our little outline here. And it looks like on this one, I outlined within that frame. What I mean by that frame is within that box. And I am not outlining around that little set of stars there. So I'm kind of skipping it and then continuing. Next up, we are going to use a couple of stamps. So with this stamp set, this is the spring summer stamp set. The stamp set so far, winter spring and spring summer. If you have purchased both kits or if you have purchased both stamp sets, you probably have a pretty good idea what's going on here. In the winter spring, we had definitions for January, February, March. In the spring summer, definitions for April, May, June. You'll see the rest of the months in summer, fall, and then fall holidays. So at the end of the year, you will have a full set of definitions for all of your months. What I did with those months, I kind of did just a little, not even really ombre. I took the June stamp, since this is the month of June, and I stamped it 4 times. One with Kitsch Flamingo, one with spiced marmalade, one with mowed lawn, and one with broken china. So with the season pass kits or with the season pass releases, I always swatch the distress ink colors that coordinate with the full season pass. So you can always see those on any of the season pass products for that particular season. And so these were the 9. Doesn't mean that you have to have all 9. Doesn't mean that you even use all 9. These would be, I've used all of these colors now over the months of April, May, and June. So for the month again of June, I'm using Kitsch Flamingo, Spiced Marmalade, Mowed Lawn, and Broken China. So I've already pulled out those inks and I am going to put them here in the order that I will be stamping them. That's kind of the Roy G. Bibb order, right? The order of the rainbow: red, pink, orange, no yellow, green, blue. So they'll kind of work that way. So let me grab my June stamp. And the definitions are really fun. If you've never really paid attention to them or used them, I encourage you to at least read them because they're quite fun. Let's see. Will that fit? Nope. That, I think that fits. That'll be my best one. Um, if you, I haven't I keep thinking I need to remember to photograph this. Once we sold out of our one, is that 2.5? Once we sold out of the stamping block, that's the large circle, that is 2.75. We had them redone, but we had them redone with a little grid on it now. So I will use the one with the grid. The grid is nice on your stamping blocks because you can easily see where to line that up. I am just going to kind of get this close to me like that so it's even. When it comes to stamping, if you haven't stamped with me before, one of the things that I think is really helpful when you're stamping is to try to right size your stamping block to your stamp. So you want to find your stamping block that you have that is going to be closest in size to your actual stamp. So this one is great with the width. It is, obviously there's more here than here, but I don't have one that is just really narrow and skinny. So this one will work. So what I want to do, I'm going to start with Kitsch Flamingo. And actually, you know what I'm going to have us do first so we know where to stop? Let's do a rub on first. And it's this guy. So, the rub-ons for all of the season passes are pretty much divided in, well, they're always divided into 2 sheets. So you always have 2 sheets. You have a color sheet and a black and white sheet. The color sheets are separated kind of in thirds, one for each month. So this would have been April, May, and now this is June. I am going to take this little guy, cut it out. Because I always think it's much easier to cut it out instead of trying to get your rub on when it's on the whole sheet. And this guy is going to sit right about here. So I will make it go, it pretty much sits right above that little bottom blue line. And I want to do that now because that will help me know where I need to be positioning my June stamp when I stamp it 4 times. I don't want to stamp too low and then I don't have enough room for that. All right, so I've got my little, my really fancy rub-on tool here, the popsicle stick. You just need something that's blunt, right? When you're using rub-ons, make sure to hold on all the time. So you'll notice when I rotated that so I could kind of hit the other side that I moved my fingers so my fingers were still holding on. That's really important part of the process of using rub-ons. You don't want to let go. If you let go, the chances of that rub-on maybe just moving a tiny bit, just a little tiny bit, kind of skipping. If it skips and moves a little bit, you are going to end up with a skip or crack in your rub-on. So just hold on. And I think I'm done, right? Here's the next tip when it comes to working with rub-ons. Uh, Double check to make sure it's good before you peel the whole thing off. So do a sneak peek. Start to peel that back, peel that back, peel that back. If there's any part of it that did not get rubbed on, lay it right back down because it hasn't moved. So you can lay it back down, pick up your popsicle stick again, and then rub over the area that did not kind of adhere, and then pick it back up again, and we're good. All right. Oh, I've got a little, that's interesting. Oh my gosh. Ah, that's very interesting. So I have a little Reggie here, our cat, that I have rubbed on top of, and I know better. I am not going to try to pull that out. If I pull that out, I could possibly make a crack in my rub on. So I just snipped it at the end. No one will ever know that it's there, but that I didn't notice that as I was doing it. All right, let's see. Virginia said, on another live today, a discussion of stamping came up. I recommended your preparing video. Several folks thanked me and we're going to check it out. I love that, Virginia. Thank you. You guys, when it comes to stamping, if you are not super comfortable with stamping, or maybe you haven't used your stamps yet at all, I have a video here on my YouTube channel where I go through kind of how to prep your stamps to get them ready to use, because they are not necessarily ready to use right out of the package. I won't go into that today because this is kind of the third time that we've used them, but we will. I always start out when we do a new season for season pass, then we start out kind of going over that. I also have another video coming, and it is kind of, it's making the most out of your stamp. So giving a lot of the tips that I give every time I stamp, right? Sizing your stamp to your stamping block, stand while you're stamping, and a number of other things. All right, so we're starting with Kitsch Flamingo. I want to ink that up, and I don't want to just start stamping on there. I really should test it first, right? Always a good idea to test to make sure. You can see I tested that one. Always a good idea to test to make sure you have enough ink on there. Everything looks good. All right, that looks nice. So I need to re-ink that up again. And this is going to go just right up there, kind of snuggled right up there towards the top. There we go. Now, it just so happens, and this was not planned, that your month stamps, this happens to fit between, one definition fits between those two lines. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I got closer. So, that doesn't necessarily make sense what I was going to say anymore. Never mind. I am going to clean that off, right? I don't want pink on there anymore. I'm going to thoroughly clean that off. And because I am going to re-ink it right away, I really should dry it. If you're just going to put the stamp away, you're not using it again, you're not re-inking again with another color, you can just clean it and don't worry about drying it. But if you are going right from cleaning into the next color, I really, really, really recommend that. Oh, that was blurry. Sorry about that. I'll make sure that it focuses before I show you. I really recommend that you dry before you re-ink, because your Distress Oxides inks are a pigment-based ink, and that's what I use. I use Distress Oxides. It's just my own personal preference. They are a pigment-based ink, and pigment-based inks are water reactive. So they take a little second to dry, your pigment-based inks do. So if I have cleaned it and it's still a little bit wet, and then I go in and put a new color over it, it's possible that that color will react with whatever water is still on that stamp from having just cleaned it, and I might end up with a little bit of a different look than I was planning on otherwise. So always a good idea to dry in between cleaning if you are getting ready to use another color right away. Okay, so that is basically, oh, I said I would make sure that was focused. It is directly below. I mean, there is no space in there. Those need to be right tight against each other in order for me to be able to fit all four corners, all four colors, uh, one below the other. So we're just kind of doing a little ombre looking rainbow here. Next up, we are going to move from orange to the spice marmalade to mowed lawn. And I want to dry in between again. Oh, guess what? I didn't test that, did I? That's not good. Always recommend you test. Now, because I've been using it a couple times, I'm pretty confident that it's clean, right? And I'm also pretty confident that I've got a good feel for how much pressure I need to apply. That's another big thing with your stamps, especially these little letters on here are pretty small. If you are pressing really, really hard, you're likely going to blur some of those words. That goes next. And we're ready for our last color. Oh, Denise said, I leave the ink on, then dipping into the next, giving a contrast. Aha, that could be really fun, right? So, Denise is not, she is not cleaning between colors. So really, it's kind of giving you a mix between, in this case, if I were to leave green on and then do blue, you'd probably notice it more here between orange and that or that and that. Those you probably still notice it, but maybe not as much. But that could give you kind of your own custom color, right? But that looks really cool. All right, now we're moving to broken china. And these are just the colors that I use. You use whatever ink colors that you have. If you have a different blue, use it, right? You don't have to always buy new things. Sometimes we can just work with what we have. And that one goes right there. So they all, I know that's what I'm thinking too. Joanne said, mixing colors, ooh, living dangerously. That would be me living on the edge. Don't mix colors. I mean, nothing wrong with it. I just that's too mixed media for me. No. Joanne said, envy you. My OCD heart couldn't take it. Same, same. All right. So there we go. Isn't that fun? We kind of just made our own pattern by just taking our stamp and repeating it 4 times, but changing the color in between. You could create your own pattern paper that way, right? You can take a piece of white cardstock and just start stamping over and over and over and changing your colors. So you can get kind of a really fun look by doing that. All right. So now, oh, I did. I used one more color. I also used faded jeans on this guy. So looking at my sample, we have this kind of um trapped white space there, right? See how it's kind of that it's just that space is trapped. You have your stars here, your definitions here, that really fun stacked word art there, but we've got this weird little spot. We got to do something there. It's not working for me to look like that. So what I decided to do was I came back in to my stamps. I did not want to use more words because I have words here, words here. So I decided to use the butterfly to kind of fill that in. You have butterfly that you could use. I mean, you could really use any of these things. I mean, you could use eggs, but you have bees, you have butterflies, you have little eggs, you have strawberry, you have your little grouping of flowers, but I use the butterfly with the flowers on their wings, or yeah, its wing, their wing. I guess I have two, but all right. So I need to change out my stamping block, right? I don't have to. I certainly do not have to, but as I was saying before, one of the things that I find makes stamping much easier. Sorry to make all that noise in my drawer. Um, I like to right size my stamping block to my stamp. The smaller your stamping block is in relation to your stamp, obviously you can't, well, I shouldn't say obviously. You never want to go with the stamping blocks that's smaller than your stamp. You're not going to get a nice solid impression. So I didn't want to use that too big. Even this guy, I mean, any of these would work, right? These would all work, but this guy seems to work the best for that stamp. That's one of my, we have a little set of those that are little cylinders. Just make it, because it's a smaller stamp, taller, a little bit easier to hang on to. There we go. Now, some of you are mad watercolors. Some of you are mad. Um, I don't mean mad. I mean like you're really good at it. Using like your Copic markers or colored pencils and actually coloring in all those butterfly wings. That could look really cool too. Now, I didn't do that, but so let's do one little butterfly there, and we'll do another little butterfly There. So I've just filled in that space. If you did not want to stamp there, you could use some word strip stickers. Maybe you could stack a couple of strip stickers in there, or you could come in and take a look at your rub-ons. I mean, you could make a couple of lines right there. You could probably trim that twice and do, maybe two of those right there. You could put summer right there. You have a lot of different options on what you could put in that little blank space. Virginia said, my favorite is the stylus. Just makes me happy. And those little cylinders, cute on my desk. Yeah, my dad always taught me use the right tool for the job. So if you have the right tool, usually it makes your life a lot easier, right? If you've ever tried to use a regular screwdriver with a screw that has a Phillips head, it works, right? But it's hard. It doesn't necessarily work very easily. It'll still work, but much easier if you have Phillips screwdriver for a Phillips head screw. And if you're like, what's a Phillips head screwdriver? Phillips head screw. It's the screw that looks like this. Kind of got like a little cross in the center. That's your little screw. That's a Phillips head. And then this is just, your regular screw. Right tool for the job makes life a lot easier. All right. So this is now ready to go into the bottom. Oopsie. We haven't done anything with that yet. So it's still floating around. Let's put it back in its little home up here. And this piece will tuck into our pocket. Get these out of the way for a sec. This will tuck into our pocket, and then this sits right on top. And I need to add just a little bit of adhesive there. I'm adding adhesive, so that will kind of just help it to stick down. Now, I just did something here that I want to point out. I didn't do this on purpose. Remember when I said your Distress Oxide inks, your pigment-based inks, take a little bit to dry? Well, I just pressed down on that butterfly. Do you see how it's kind of blurred right in there? And I have a little bit of a fingerprint right there. Um, Make sure if you're using a pigment-based ink that you give it time to dry before you do what I just did. I mean, it's still fine. You probably would never even notice if I didn't tell you, but I thought I'd point that out since I did it. Battery-driven screwdriver. Yeah, it makes it a little bit easier, doesn't it? All right, let's get this guy out of our way for a sec. Okay, so now we need to come back in and start adding our die cuts. I will show you what I do. Well, you'll kind of see the remnants of it. Um, let's see. Is that it? I think this one is all May. When I get new season pass, I use a little container like this, and this little type of container is great because it's got 3 spots. So I separate my die cuts right off the bat. So when I open up all my product for the summer fall season pass, I will put the product for July in here, August in here, September in here, so that it was really easy for me when I got everything ready this afternoon because, well, this would be easy when you get to June anyway, because it's kind of pretty much what's left. But when I do that at the beginning, the first month of a season, then everything's just all already out and organized. So I think, as with most things in life, the more organized we are, the more makes our life easier, right? Okay, so the die cuts that we need, we're starting out with this little guy. It's just almost like a little piece of washi, a die cut that looks like a little strip of washi. That guy is going to sit right about there. So it's going to sit on top of the yellow and that red. And I don't ever have to adhere that piece down. Right now it's totally floating around. But as soon as I take this piece and adhere it to both of those, that guy is now connected to its yellow friend right below. I try not to use a lot of adhesive if I don't have to when I am decorating the pockets, because that makes it really easy when I'm ready to unload from a month that I can still use all those pieces, separate them and use them if I want. So with this guy, it is pop dotted. I'm using a little foam square, a few little foam squares behind that piece. That is that same pattern that I showed you that is printed on the back of the season pass, the spring summer season pass paper cover. That guy's just going to kind of go right about there. Next up, we have the red label. Your red label does not say all smiles. The labels don't have anything on them. We are adding a word strip sticker to that. So, if you've been paying attention to season pass, at least this one, or maybe all year, you may have noticed that every month has a tab like this. You'll start to notice that every month will have similar designed pieces so that if you want to have it be a kind of have a little bit of continuity from month to month, or if you're using it for a series of scrapbook pages or in a mini book, you have similar elements that carry through from month to month. And so, what I mean by that is, if we come back to this guy, we have Hello May. We have Hello June. So every month has something like that that is consistent. Every month has something like this, kind of a little quote, not a quote, but a phrase. So that's consistent. Every month has tabs. Every month has stacked word art like that. So you end up with a lot of consistency from month to month, which is just kind of nice. All right, this guy is just flat. So you will see that continue through the remaining two season passes for the year. That guy will go right there. Now over here we have this little fun square piece that has some flowers inside of it. Yeah. You see how I'm trying to get it up? Where I lick my finger and try to get it up. This little guy, this is pop dotted, but just kind of right there. There's just kind of one right in that upper corner. And I don't need to add any other adhesive behind it because just by putting that right there, that is going to kind of keep it down. Let's see. Virginia said, I ordered those little foam squares. Now I'm wondering where I placed them. I've been organizing now, can't find anything. I know, don't we hate that? We hate it when that happens. When we're so organized that we put it away and then we don't know where we put it. Um, I'd like to say Virginia, that's why you shouldn't organize, but I would be lying because I can't do that. Hope you find them soon. Gail said, what is the black tray that you use? That's pretty cool. This is a tray from a Japanese dollar-ish store. It's called Daiso, Daiso. We have one in Utah now. They're predominantly located kind of along the western coast of the United States. So you have them in Seattle, you have them in the Washington area, you have them a lot in California, at least Southern California. I think they have them in Arizona now. But these just work really well because I do the same thing. But actually, let's see, do I have one of these still? I'm still here. I'm just going to show you what I do. Again, when I open a new season pass, I'm organizing everything. When I'm ready to work, when I'm ready to set up Traveler's Notebook, I put them all out. I have two size trays. I put them on a big tray when I'm trying to see everything. And then that way it makes it really easy for me to work with. So if you saw in my little cupboard over here, as soon as I start unloading the summer fall season pass, I have three of these on a shelf. And it would have everything for July will be on one tray, everything for August, everything for September. And then my die cuts are kind of split between those guys. And I kind of have to be organized that way because I use the season pass products not only for our class and setting up my traveler's notebook, and I do it twice, but I also use them in some of my Saturday lists. So kind of have to try to keep things sorted and organized as much as I can. All right, next up. Oh, where is I need this guy. That's probably what I didn't get in the right little bin. Oh, okay, guess what? That, these guys, there's that, there's that. I'm not sure what I did there. I didn't have all of them because this is the guy that I need. This fun little, yeah, you could totally use a baking tray. They're not. These guys are just plastic. That's a plastic, but you could totally use cookie sheet for sure. Um, you could use a like a lunch tray. If any of you have the We Are Memory Keepers rolling cart, those are the trays from the rolling cart. That would work too. I don't know, but for me, if I can have things organized, if I imagine if I sat in class and I'm like digging through everything over and over and over trying to find something, that probably wouldn't go over too well, right? So I kind of have to be organized. But if you don't have a lot of time to craft, it's kind of a good idea to get your things organized before you start. So I have just one little pop dot behind that fun little beach umbrella. This guy goes down way more. It's going to go right about there. And then we have our little pool bag. So this could be a pool bag or a beach bag, or I don't know, maybe well, I guess it's probably either one of those because it's got sunscreen in there, but you could use sunscreen anywhere. This little guy is just going down flat, just kind of tucking right in there to fill up that little space. And then we have our beach ball. And our beach ball, we're using another foam square. We definitely want to use a foam square behind that because it just makes it, you know, look a little bit more fun. I don't ever use any kind of dimensional adhesive like this in my traveler's notebooks when I'm like in here working. And I caution you to use things that have a lot of height or dimension in your traveler's notebooks because it's great, looks great on the page. But as soon as you turn the page and try to stamp or write on it, it becomes really difficult because it's really lumpy bumpy. So I'll use lots of foam squares here, but generally I don't use them inside. All right, next up, we've got some fun little summer treats. Oh, forgot this guy, our stacked word art. That stacked word art is there's one of those in every month. So again, gives you a little bit of consistency from month to month. And it looks like I did kind of pop that whole thing. So we'll just add a couple on here. My I need to go upstairs. So I now have two craft rooms. This is my filming studio, so I have to have all of my tools down here, but upstairs is the craft room that I used to do all my filming in. Um that I have still have some of my products up there. So, oopsie. Is that going to fit? Oh no, it's okay. Overlaps a little bit. Um, I have bigger foam squares upstairs. It would take a little bit less time if I'm using the bigger ones, but that's okay. Down here we have treats, 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 treats. We have this guy. I think I did the same thing. I clearly have a couple of these guys that are not, there's one more that I don't have on my tray here. So I need those guys. I'm missing that little soda pop bottle. So go back over here to my other ones. If I was a soda, oh, there it is. Like if I was a soda pop bottle, where would I be? Okay. So I put a little foam square kind of right up here towards the top of that little well, it's not well, I don't know. It's probably not soda pop unless your soda pop has strawberries in it. That's some kind of fun drink with strawberries. Little guy will go right there. Next up, we will put our little ice cream cone, our strawberry ice cream cone, which is really pretty to look at. Oh, it's under the strawberry basket. Oh, there it is. There it is. That's because I have multiple of these sets, right? Because I still have a set that I will be using for my Saturday lists. Thank you for finding that. Sometimes we stare at things and don't find them, right? This little strawberry ice cream, really pretty to look at. I would never eat it. When it comes to ice cream, if I had to choose between vanilla and chocolate and strawberry, I would be vanilla ice cream all day long. I would never, ever, ever. Strawberry ice cream would never hit my radar. I would skip it. Instead, I would skip it and not have any ice cream. So really pretty to look at it, but would not wouldn't eat it. Wouldn't be my taste. Anyone tried the Publix married to strawberry ice cream? Yum. Ooh, I bet if you're a strawberry person, it's probably really good, right? All right, so we have one more thing. Well, actually, two more. We have Hello June. Hello June makes you want to sing, doesn't it? But it's not really Hey June. It's kind of different. Hey Jude. Yeah, that was probably a stretch, Lil. All right, so we're going to pop dot these little guys as well. And here's the deal. If you have not done this with me before, or you're not really a traveler's notebook person and you're like, lady, why would you do this every month? Because I use a traveler's notebook. I use this particular traveler's notebook every month. It always has my calendar in it. I have notes. I've got all kinds of things that I use this particular one for. And I like it to change every month. So if I'm in June, I still don't want to have like snowflakes in there, right? I don't want to have snow and snowmen and things. So I like to just kind of do this every month. Some people like to do that. Some people are like, yeah, no, too much time, not worth it. But I say, no, I think it's fun. All right, so I just added Hello June, and now I need to add All Smiles. So let me grab my second pack of the word strip stickers because obviously I no longer have All Smiles on that one. Let me locate that. I have my trays for our classes, but then I also have all of my season pass stuff for the months that we've already done, kind of my extras in this big pouch right here. Your season pass comes in a pouch, but it comes in the 13.5 by 13. It doesn't have that little zipper pocket. I like to use the 14 by 14 with that little zipper pocket because all of my paper goes in that main pocket. And then I put all my small things like my stamps, the rub-ons, my word strips, any of my extra die cuts would go in that little pocket. So we had to go in there to grab my second sheet. Does Daiso have mail order? One, I'm not sure. I am not sure. That's a good question. I don't know if anyone knows. All right, so I need that little all smiles. All smiles is right there. Fourth row down, one in from the right. So grab this guy and I think, I'm pretty sure you guys, I think this is with the next season pass, we have changed manufacturers for our word strip stickers. So I think you will like them. I think you will like them. Oh, there we go, tweezers. It's so much easier for me to do that with tweezers. It's really hard to kind of place that with my fingers and try to get that even. All right, pockets are done and nicely decorated. Now, when you move out of one of your traveler's notebooks, right? When I move out of this guy that we just moved out of, all these great pieces. And all these great pieces you should use. Don't just throw all this away. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. So, um, I'll show you an example of, let's see if I can find it. Oh, here we go. This is what I did for February. My about last month list for February. This probably looks kind of familiar, even if you didn't do February. Do you see how this is now similar to that? Yeah, we're good, hon. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. Um, sorry, Nick just came down to see how the internet's doing. And now I'm like, oh gosh, please don't jinx us. But anyhow, I basically pulled all of those pieces out and they were all connected and just used it as that little half page in my traveler's notebook. So you can totally use those pieces again. Virginia said, as you do these twice for us to see, and I thank you. What do you do with the second set? Generally nothing, Virginia. I mean, actually, that's not true. What I try to do is at least do 1 month where I can use the pieces like this, but I have two, right? So really, truth be told, I probably don't do anything with the second set because I'm using my set once I move out to do things like this. Or sometimes these were papers, or they could be papers from these slip covers when we're done with them. When we pulled out the slip covers, I can then use them as, where'd my slip covers go? I can then cut the backs of them off, right? And use them as bases for my pages. Oh, Susan, I love that. Susan said, there's a Daiso 8 miles from me. Who knew? Going to check it out tomorrow. Yeah, they've got some cool things. All right. I will tell you though, it's very hard to understand their pricing. So all their packaging is in Japanese. And so they've got little signs that say if it's this color, then this is the price range, or I'm just like, ah, whatever. Because it's a dollar-ish store, but they probably have things that go up to $10. I don't know. All right. So we're good. Our pockets are all decorated. And that's just such an easy, fun way. I don't know what you guys use. If you are decorating your traveler's notebook, I don't know what you use your traveler's notebook for. But this particular traveler's notebook for me, I'm usually opening it up because I have to work. I've got to do some work. I got to look at my calendar. I'm looking at my project plans. I'm looking at things like that. So even though I have to work, it's nice if I can at least open it up and have something really fun greeting me before before I have to get to work, right? This little guy is last piece that we are popping in. This guy is going to go right there in that little side pocket. So it just gives it a little bit more of a kind of a decorative flair, right? And I really should have outlined it before I put it in the pocket, but we'll just do this. What section are they in? Okay. Do you know Daiso, Gail? It is in a section of a lot of their containers because from what I understand, these are lids to containers that they have. So look through all the containers. This would be the point where you're getting to containers that would be larger, right? Because this guy, let's pull this out. That guy is way bigger, right, than this guy. Other than that, I think you should be able to find it if you're kind of just looking at looking for containers. All right. Now we're ready to slip cover our inserts. Slip covering your inserts. Some of you, like Denise Dufresne, has been doing a bi-monthly traveler's notebook kit with me like this forever, um, for a really long time. So she's probably heard me explain this 1,012 times. But some of you have never heard this explanation before, so I always like to cover it. So let me just grab a little prop here. Um, I organize it. I put it in. Oh, here it is. There we go. Um, some of you know, some of you may not know. I worked for Simple Stories for 6 years, and that was 7 years ago. So I started there 13 years ago. While we were there, we launched the Carpe Diem brand, and our Carpe Diem brand was traveler's notebooks and planners. So for a long time, we had traveler's notebook inserts that were patterned. The covers had patterns on them. So for a long time, I was using the traveler's notebook inserts that had the patterned covers, and everything was great. Um, I I guess it was around November and December's coming up. And I thought, what'd be really fun? I would really like to. I have to have something to drink. I have not. I know. It's really bad. Really bad. Um, Thank you. Um, I had to go see a voice therapist because my throat is I did some damage to it by trying to teach for like 4 hours when I was sick. And anyhow, long story. We just try to help Lel remember to drink, and I have not been drinking in quite a while. Um, where was I? Oh, yes. So November, and I thought, you know what I want to do? I think it'd be really fun to do this for December. This is probably 9 years ago, maybe. I want to make the inside of my traveler's notebook super cute for Christmas, and I want to put covers on my inserts so that when I open it up, it's all Christmassy and everything is good. So in my infinite wisdom, I got out a glue stick and I glued the paper to my cover, which was great. You can tell how this is old. It's really been hammered because I pull it out a lot to show people. But I glued it to the cover, and that was great for the month of December. But then January rolled around, and I went, "Uh-oh, my traveler's notebook insert, I've glued Christmas to it, and I'm still using it. I mean, it was nowhere near full." And I went, "Uh-oh." Because I glued it, there really is no way for me to get that off. So that time I went, okay, I still want to be able to do this. I still want to be able to cover my inserts, but I can't have it stuck on Christmas or winter or Easter or whatever. So I kind of had to figure out what I could do to make it work so that I could change up my insert every month, because some of your inserts you are moving from month to month. Like your calendar insert, that lasts for a whole year. So I move that from month to month to month. I would never want to like glue paper to it. So with that said, that's how I came up with the idea of doing slip covers, temporary covers that are there for as long as you want them to be. But as soon as you don't want them anymore, you just pull it off and make a new one. Kind of like when we were in grade school. Grade school, the first couple of days of school, we'd go and the teacher would say, "Hey, extra credit time. Take your textbooks home and put paper bags on them, cover them so that we can use this same textbook for the next 82 years, right? Because we need to stretch our budgets." And we did. We went home, we got the paper sacks, we got packing tape or whatever. We did all the things and made a cover so that it would protect the textbooks theoretically, but we liked it because we could get our Mrs. Grossman stickers out and our doodling and, decorate our textbooks. That's exactly what we're doing here. But at the end of the year, you could just pull that slipcover off and then they give it to the next kid. So that's what we're doing. Creating slipcovers. I love it. C.W. Kraft said, "Yay, I was thinking about this same concept today." Exactly what we're doing, except these are a lot easier. I don't know if you remember the textbooks you had to fold and do all these weird things and tape and create the pockets for the side. These are so easy. So what we're going to start out with, we've already cut these. Our pieces are 12 by 8 1/4. 8 1/4 is the height of our inserts. We are going to fold this, and I want you to fold it with the outside pattern facing in. So if you are using the sun, that would be the outside pattern. We're folding outside pattern facing in. The reason we are folding out, yeah, your boyfriend's name, I know, right? But sometimes you had to make it be code because if you were in sixth grade and you had a crush on a boy and he wasn't your boyfriend, you'd be like, "Ooh, I have to make a code so nobody would know that, Lael plus whoever it was, right? Unless he became your boyfriend and then you had to re-slip cover because then you wanted to say Lael plus Chris. And Chris was my boyfriend in eighth grade, as much as you can have a boyfriend that young, but yeah. All right. So we are folding outside facing in. The reason we're doing that, when you fold paper, a lot of times you are going to get a breakage in the fiber. The breakage in the fiber occurs on the fold. So if we fold outside facing in, our fiber breakage is here. And then we go ahead and fold it the way we really want it. Where's our fiber breakage now? On the inside. So if you make cards or fold paper for anything, keep that in mind. Always fold outside facing in. You end up with breakage on the inside. Virginia said I press too hard on the page edge and end up with paper tearing a little bit. So Virginia, that's where you could get creative. You could maybe take a little piece of washi and cover it up. Or sometimes I'll just use Scotch tape, right? I mean, Scotch tape, most Scotch tape is not acid free. So they think that over time the acid will eat away the paper, kind of like the old albums that you'd put your photos in, and then eventually you'd go and the plastic would come off, but now it's like eating away, the acid's eating away at the photos. Um, I would probably take a little bit of Scotch tape and you'd never see it. So outside facing in, we then fold it so outside is now facing out. We're going to take our insert, and I always use one of my inserts that I use in this particular Traveler's Notebook is always a monthly calendar insert. So that is one of our monthly calendar inserts. And this is more of a kind of a decorative calendar for me. I put, let's go. Oh yeah, I had done it there. I put appointments and if I'm traveling out of town. This by no means has everything I'm doing every day on it. Appointments and when I'm traveling. Uh, all of my other to-dos go in another Traveler's Notebook insert. So this one I'm using for the full year. So I slip cover it and then re-slip cover it every month. Whichever insert that you're using, you're probably using one of these because if you got the option that had the inserts, you're using one of these guys. I take the spine and lay it right there on the fold and then close. So that's what I'm going to do with this guy. Take the spine, take the insert, put it right in the center, and then fold. All right. So now what I want to do, we aren't using any adhesive. We're not even using, I don't even use washi tape anymore to do this. We use nothing. So we've got that. The spine is in the center. I'm going to rotate that. I'm going to move the cover and just kind of push that in to make sure it's nice and tight there in the center. And then I am going to create a crease. We're not doing any kind of measuring at all. We are just going to use the edge of our finger and run that right along the edge of that insert. That is exactly where that fold needs to be. That is the way I recommend you do it. I've been doing these. I've probably done I don't know. I've been doing my traveler's notebook kits like this probably the last 10 years. So I've done at least 120 of these guys. If we do, no, two a month. So I guess 240, right? Um, two of these a month for every month for the last 10 years. By far the easiest way to do it. Don't need to measure, don't need to worry about a scoreboard or a bone folder. So just take your finger. That's right where that natural crease needs to be. Lift that up. That is the front cover of my insert. I will lift that as well and then just fold that right under. And it's perfect. And now I will do the same thing on the back side. So I've rotated it to the back of my insert, back of my slip cover. I want to do the same thing. Just make sure it's nice and tight down on that closed part. And I am going to do that. Make sure it's nice and smooth. And then my finger goes right there as well. Lift up, lift up. That's the back cover of my insert. And voila. Okay. So, what I like to do from this point on, I like to round the outside corners, all four outside corners. So the outside corners on the front and the outside corners on the back. The reason I do that, my traveler's notebook inserts have rounded corners. That means if you slip cover this way, this is not a rounded corner. That is a right angle, right? That is a 90-degree angle. So there is nothing supporting that corner underneath because it's rounded. If you don't round your corners, you don't have to, but there's nothing supporting that corner and your corners might tend to kind of bend a little bit. So I like to do those outside corners, excuse me, front and back. I better take a sip of something here really quick. Hydration break. All right, let's see. Denise said, I love my monthly calendar to decorate, and boy, do I decorate it. And you know what? Then it becomes kind of a fun little keepsake, right? I don't know. When I was in college, I worked at a fine social stationery store called Tabula Rasa, and that's when I got my first planner. Well, my first real like big girl planner, and it was a Filofax because we sold Filofaxes. And after that, I went to work for AT&T, and I got my first really really big girl planner, and that was the burgundy Franklin planner that was like a purse, but your planner opened and it had a big long strap. For years, I would keep all those inserts because it was kind of like a little diary, right? It was like a recap of your life. So these inserts, if you do an insert like that, calendar insert, it's kind of fun in the same way that you use it as your calendar. Uh, for the year, and then you have a little keepsake of just kind of remind you of what you did. I know I always pull that out because there are people that'll always you had a Filofax or you had a Franklin Covey planner, right? And then we joke about the burgundy one because I mean it felt like it was as big as a house, right? Those were big planners back then. I've opened this up because now I am going to do my outlining. And I find if I open it up, once we get to the straight edge here, it is much easier if it is open as opposed to closed. If it's closed, it's really bulky right here. And too often, if I think I'm an expert and I don't need to do what I say, then I'll be outlining right here and it goes whoop right off the edge. All right, so what do we need to do for this little guy? This was not, I mean, it's interesting. Some of the things as we're designing a collection or a season pass, some of the things I have a really good idea of exactly how I want to use it. I knew exactly how I wanted to use this paper. What I didn't know is how I would decorate it. So when I got all the little die cuts out, like normally I do something like this on my slip covers. I usually keep it pretty simple, but I'm like, well, I can't do that here. If I do a card here, it will totally cover up that sun. I'm like, what could I do? I know, we'll put a big old die cut in there and then use summer. So that is just kind of a fun way to have a little bit of a different looking, at least than the way I normally do. We really kind of take advantage of that little sunshine there. So I'm putting a little bike. That little bike is going right there, kind of in the center. And then I have this summer. I love that color combination. I love how they kind of overlap each other. That piece makes me so happy. So I am going to pop dot that up. Grab our little pop dots. A size of a laptop. I know, Denise, right? They were big. They definitely were not like a passport size, right? Now, these days, so many different types of size planners and traveler's notebooks and things like that. But back then, yeah, they were big. And then because I worked at AT&T at that time, I worked there for 8 years. They sent us through all kinds of courses. I went through one of um, the before they turned into Franklin Covey, went through one of the Franklin Planner training courses where they taught you how to kind of use their planner and plan ahead and all of the A priorities, B priorities, C priorities, and the different little shapes and arrows that you'd use to move things forward or put them on hold. Or yeah, I still use some of those things today. All right. The process, I guess, that I learned. All right. So that little summer is just going right down there, kind of in the center along that bottom center of that circle. And then it looked like it was a little too plain. The symbols, I know, right? Yeah, I love it. I love it. Hold on. Denise just said something. Denise said her grandkids read hers all the time. That is so fun, right? And I know that Denise has told me that. But how cool is that? Isn't that cool that her grandkids like to look at, like, I mean, when we think about a legacy that we leave, whether it's grandkids or kids or friends or family or whoever it is, someday someone may pick up one of your things and learn a whole lot about you. That's kind of cool, right? So Denise's grandkids are learning all kinds of things about her that they might know because they're looking at her calendar. I love that. Virginia, I love that. Virginia said, random, I'm so thankful for this group. None of my friends are into journaling, watercolor, mixed media. Thanks to you all. You know what? Same thing. I don't, I mean, my like I have different groups of friends. I have a neighbor group of friends that are neighbors that are totally different. I still have college friends that I hang out with all the time. None of those people do anything like this. I don't have crafty friends from I say my real life, right? This is a different life, right? My business is kind of a different life. I got lots of friends from my business life that do things like this, but really no friends in my real life. So this is where I get to hang out with you guys and we play like we're friends, right? We are friends, not like we're friends, we are friends. All right. So it looked like there was just, I don't know, looked like something was missing to me. And one of the things I say all the time, if it looks like something is missing, what is the answer? The answer is a word strip sticker. That's why you see me do word strip stickers in every collection, every season pass that we do, because I use word strip stickers all the time. This looked plain, right? We kind of have this area right here that looks like it needs a little something. It also is kind of plain down below. So I've used the sticker that says good times. That is 1, 2, 3, fourth row down from the top, second, or sorry, fourth row down, second row in, or second space in, I guess. So we'll grab that guy. Good times. Peel that off. Whoopsie. Use my little tweezers there to kind of place it. Goes right there. And it just fills that in nicely. Word strip sticker, right? Next up, I wanted something that was bigger. And so as I was looking at my other word strip stickers, I was looking for something that was a little bit longer. Not so much what it said, but really for something that was longer. So I started looking for things that were long. And so I landed on this guy, enjoyed this so much. So this was 1, 2, 3, 4 down, or maybe 3 up from the bottom, right on that left side. But you have a ton of word strip stickers to use, right? A ton. And the great thing about word strip stickers is you can use them with anything, right? You don't have to use them with season pass. You can pretty much use them with anything. Okay, there we go. So that's our first one. My first one always, always, always is kind of the hero, right? Because that's the one I see the most. So I probably spend more time decorating always my first one than I do the cover of my second one. I am not going to put this one into my elastics yet because when we're done, I said I would show a little sneak peek of the summer fall season pass. So we'll look at that. And then I will come to my monthly calendar and use what I have left to decorate my month of June. So if you want to hang out with us and do that, you can. But we need to do our second slipcover. Our second slipcover looks like that. I mean, it's cute, right? Still fun. We didn't need to do a lot on this one because that's the pattern is really carrying a lot of the design for us. So I have used, oh, let's go here. We need this guy. We're going to do the same thing that we did before, right? We are folding outside facing in. Uh, think about how you want your colors, your kind of rainbow to sit. Do you want it to sit with the green at the top and go down, or do you want it to sit at kind of the pinky coral at the top and go down? You get to decide. So outside facing in. I literally now don't ever fold anything without outside facing in. Lily was doing something in the warehouse today, and I said, "You know what? The next one, will you do me a favor? Fold outside facing in." And she's like, "What do you mean?" And Lily doesn't craft. And I explained to her, I said, "This is why I fold outside in. You see the difference?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I totally get that. That makes total sense now." Taking our second insert, that goes right there in the center. Closing it. Now, I think at least the people that are chatting, there end up being a lot of people that watch these free classes now over time. But at least the people that are watching live that are chatting, I think most of you are using a traveler's notebook. You're here, you're taking the class because you are setting up your traveler's notebook for the month of June. But some of you might be hanging out saying, I bought a season pass. I don't really use a traveler's notebook. I'm looking for ideas on things I might be able to do with season pass. So there's things that we're doing here that you don't have to use season pass for, right? I think you can still get lots of great ideas from class for any type of the crafting that you're doing with season pass. Like when we did our stamping one below the next one below the next one with the different colors, grouping some of your die cuts, clustering, even something like this. This could be a 12 by 12 scrapbook page, and you could do something fun in the center and then kind of decorate around it. Lots of things that you could do. Don't necessarily have to be using a traveler's notebook. Mm, there we go. Get those rounded. Virginia said she joined a neighborhood book club. You're out of your comfort zone, but you love it. I love that, right? Sometimes it's hard to step out of our comfort zone like that, but more often than not, when I step out of my comfort zone, I'm happy that I did, right? But sometimes it's just putting the first foot in front of the other when you're walking out the door. You're like, oh, it sounds good. It sounded good when you said, yeah, I'll do it. And then when it comes to the day, you're like, oh yeah, no, I can't do it. Um, you are getting a very compact set of ideas here from me in class on things that you can do with season pass. Remember, I have a design team of 10 people, and not everyone uses season pass, but quite a few of them do. If you go to any of the season pass products, you will see kind of ancillary photos. You always see the product photos, but after that, you will see lots of projects using season pass and so many different ways to use them. So many different ways. You can also go to the blog on lailbymail.com. And at the top of the blog, there's a little drop down. If on the top, that little drop down, you pick season pass, it will show you all the blog posts, all of the projects using season pass products. So that's another great way to kind of see, because with the blog post, you get kind of a written explanation along with photos from the designer on what they did to create the project. Where as you're looking at the project on the product, the season pass product, you just see a photo. So lots of different ways to get ideas for using season pass. The other thing is we always launch with 3 sketches for each of the 3 months. So you will also see those sketches under in the blog. You'll also see the sketches under the products. There's even a drop down in the blog that says, I think, free sketches, and you'll see all just the sketches there. And every month, Becky does a digital sketch using the season pass product. She does a 12 by 12 layout sketch. She does a traveler's notebook sketch, and she does a card sketch. And it's really kind of a sketch on steroids because it's really, she's designed the whole thing digitally using the product. So, not to beat a dead horse, but there's a ton of inspiration on the website for Season Pass and our other products too. All right, so this guy I kept really simple, right? I just took that card that said summer. So let's find our summer card now that I've made a big old mess over here. We have our summer card. Oops, I didn't quite get that. I didn't quite get that snipped off. The blog is an awesome source of inspiration. There are, I think it will hold maybe 12 to 15 posts per page. There are 92 pages of blog posts right now. So, and I know that because I just this afternoon added the blog post for our Saturday listing session. So lots of great inspiration to be had there. If you haven't checked it out, go to lailbymail.com and click on blog, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, where have I been? We just forget, right? We all only have so many hours in the day. Like to have more, but all right. Oh, mahjong. You guys are talking about mahjong now. We lived in Japan when I was a little girl. My dad was in the Navy. He was a Top Gun pilot in the Navy back in, well, we were there in the early 70s. I was 4, 5, and 6. So we got there in 72, I guess. 4, 5, and 6. My mom learned how to play Mahjong way back then. So my mom is a pretty darn good Mahjong player. It's super popular right now. It is, it's real. I don't want to say it's trendy because it makes it sound like it's a bad thing, but it is super, it is way on trend right there. Um, we always do a list at the start of a new year about trends for the prior year, and mahjong is on my list that I've been keeping for that. I don't know how to play, but yeah, that's something really popular right now. There are a lot of there are well, at least in one of our ancillary cities, not in my little city, but and if you can go to, or if you want to learn how about this? You want to learn how to play mahjong. Google and see if there are any groups in your town. There is one in Salt Lake, kind of the biggest town, near us, where people get together and play mahjong, and they have beginner classes and intermediate games and advanced games. So well, I know a lot of people have a lot of fun doing that, right? All right, here we go. This guy is now going. We will put this one in our little insert. So pretty plain. I grabbed just the highlights and put it right there, but it doesn't really need a lot, right? It doesn't need too much. Yes, Virginia said lots of old-fashioned, in quotes, hobbies are coming back. She said she think it's called Nuna-ing. I've heard people, yeah, call it grandma-ing or grandma hobbies, or it's where really people are getting back to analog, very tactical, using your hands type of hobbies, as opposed to, maybe playing video games or things like that. All right. So, we are at the end of class, kind of. That is everything that we are going to do together. Normally, right now, I would take my monthly calendar insert and I would take what I have left and I would decorate my calendar for June. I'm going to do that in a few minutes because I did dangle a little carrot out there, right? I did say, hey, if you stick around until the end, I will show you some sneak peeks of the summer fall season pass. So I guess it depends on how big we want to go here, right? What would be something that, let's see. I don't know, maybe the rub-ons? I'm trying to see what would I want to show you. Well, I won't show you the word strip stickers because the word strip stickers, that's just not too fun. How about if I just do this? How about if I just show you the cover of actually, let me take that out. The paper was the last thing we were waiting on, and the paper just got delivered. What's today? Thursday. It just got delivered on Tuesday or yesterday. I don't remember which one. But here you go. That was the last thing we were waiting for. So that is the cover. Becky did an amazing job again. The whole idea behind Season Pass is trying to give you an assortment of products that will work for all of the 3 months in the season. So this is July, August, and September. But also giving you patterns that work from maybe they cross months, right? So the B side of one of the papers in meant for, but in August works really well with something in July, and things can move around a lot. So you guys, I think you're really gonna like it. I really think you're going to like it. It's hard for me to know which month I like the best. I'm going to show you another sneak peek that I do not. We have done a special pack of die cuts uh, that are part of the season pass. They're not included in it, they're an add on. But I'm going to show you. I don't have the pack with me, um, but I'm going to show you one of them because you'll see a little bit of them in the die cuts. This, you guys, when Becky came back with this, I'm like, oh my goodness. When we're working on any new products, I always put together an inspiration board. I put together an inspiration board on Pinterest. It's private, so no one can see it, no one can find it, except for Becky and Amy. And I had pinned something that had little flowers on it. And this is what Amy or Becky came back with. Do you see that? That is a little squirrel that has those beautiful flowers on it. She built that out. There is a whole package of die cuts that is full of those little animals, squirrels and owls and hedgehogs and deer and foxes. And oh my gosh, it's so cute. But you do have some of those in the die cut pack, and I think you might have one or two of those in the rub-ons as well. But just such a fun design, and that's part of September. So there you go. There is a really fun kind of sneak peek at Summer Fall, and Summer Fall will hit the website on Friday, June 5th. Okay. If you like those little creatures, well, here, look at you can see little kind of forest critters. That look at the hedgehog. Isn't that so cute? There he is. He's just got some flowers on him. There's a little fox peeking out. You can kind of see he's got little flowers on him. You may have seen a sneak peek of that and you didn't even know it. Now, Reggie is not in this. Reggie the cat is not in this. But do you remember seeing that sticker when we released that March 1st? And the little flowers. So you see that design come out quite a bit in September. I will also tell you a really big secret. We have a mini collection coming out that's called Everyday Gratitude. And it is using that palette, kind of this right here, different patterns, different papers. It's kind of using this palette and using those little guys, Everyday Gratitude. So you kind of got, well, you still got the same sneak peek, but you also got a little bit of a heads up as to something else that is coming. All right, guys. All right, all right, all right. So that's a sneak peek. Now I'm going to jump back to this. I'm going to take basically what I have left, which isn't a lot. I mean, I kind of used a lot of what we had. Well, no, I guess I still have a lot. I have a lot. And that's kind of the idea behind Season Pass. You end up with a nice spattering, I don't know, of product. But I still have paper left. I still have cards left. I still have rub-ons left. And of course, I have my stamps that I can really use for anything. So really can stretch across more than one project. I've got obviously a couple of those mixed up. You don't have two so happy. So I have filled out my June calendar. You guys should get a sneak peek, right? Well, I mean, anyone can watch this because it's a free class, but I think most of you that are probably watching here live have purchased season pass, so you should get a sneak peek before everyone else, right? We won't start sneak peeking that until like on social media next week. I think we have something planned on Wednesday, and that'll go live Friday. The monthly inserts are blank. They are undated, so you can start using this whenever you want, right? You could theoretically pick this up now and just start in the middle of the year, and then you'd have half of 2026, and then you'd finish it up the front half with 2027. So I always start out by adding my numbers and then kind of adding my travel and my appointments. So now we just need to see what we think we'd want to use. We have so happy. Now, your months, for the most part, you either have a bunch of blanks up here and then they're full down here, or full up here and blank down here. So I think that's so happy is perfect. I think I'm just going to put that little so happy right there. That fits really well in that blank space. Just pop that in right there. I do have a trip planned. Nick has to go, my husband, to Washington, D.C. this week for work. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go tag along. So we're leaving early and I'll be gone that weekend. So I could put weekend getaway right there if I wanted, because that works out well. Let's see what else we have. Oh, I love these two guys. These are so fun. This one and this one. Now, if I wanted to get all crazy, I could come in with my little fussy cutting scissors. So I'm going to start big. Start with my big scissors because it's, well, not, these aren't my big scissors, but these are larger scissors. I find it always easier to come in with a little bit bigger pair of scissors to start my fussy cutting like that. But if I wanted to use this, if I loved the bees, look, I still have bees. I still have bees I can work with. And then I just pull out my little fussy cutting scissors, and much easier to use for smaller, intricate cuts than my regular scissors. And we can use that somewhere. So the bees live on. The bees from May live on. And if I didn't want to have that box, I'm like, oh, the box doesn't really fit. I could cut away the box and just have my little bee. So Susan, earlier when you asked if some of these pieces on the back side of that sun paper, if they would fit inside of the postage stamps. Well, if you had something that you wanted to use that didn't fit, I would just do this. Just cut it out and then it might fit. Because I think what I'd like to do with this little guy is I wouldn't use him this way when he had that little frame around him, but I can use him this way. Maybe I want to just put him right there. It's kind of cute right there. So it really wouldn't have worked with its frame. But if I just do a little bit more work, fussy cutting, now I've got a nice, cute little die cut that I can use. Um, let's see. Is that a sticker book from Lael? I'll have to look. What are we talking about? Oh, monthly numbers from the sticker book for my numbers. Yeah. I always forget about that. That would be this. The month by month sticker book. So for each month of the year, this is a 12-page sticker book. It's 5 by 7. You have all of the images that are from the month by month stamp sets. But then because there's more room on the sheet, because it's 4 by 6 stamp set, 5 by 7 sticker book, every month you have these little guys, different numbers. And that's why we put them there. So you could use them in a calendar. Every month, different, there's either black and white or white with black. Some are circles, some are squares, different fonts. So yeah, you've got a lot of numbers 1 through 31 here that you could use in your calendar if you have the calendar insert and want to do that. Okay, we're back to this. There's our little bee. Bees exist and bees exist all summer. So we can use it in June too. Oh, Nick's cooking dinner. I all of a sudden smelled it. My stomach is going to start growling here in a minute. Hello, sunshine. So when I have pieces now like this that really don't need to go anywhere specific, I will now start to figure out, where do I have space where I don't have a meeting or whether I'm not traveling somewhere or an appointment. That looks pretty good there, right? And I can have that span 2 pages. So I will take my adhesive, have that span 2 pages, but then what I want to do, I want to actually now separate that. It's easier for me to put it down as one piece but then I want to come in and actually separate it into two pieces. Um, thicker your traveler's notebook gets, your insert, so the deeper I get into the year, it will be harder and harder for those pages to turn if I don't do that, right? Because if they're connected in the center, it's going to make it harder for those pages to turn. All right, let's see what else we have. Summer drifts in full of exciting adventures. Sometimes, right? Probably do that same thing there because that works kind of with that. Sure. We'll have it span two pages again. Now, oh yeah, I wouldn't want to do that here because it'd be right above that and right next to that. So I kind of try to, make things a little bit more, make things a little bit more, every other one or something. Here, my 40th high school rub-on. I mean, rub-on, I know. Yes, I will remember the rub-ons. My 40th high school reunion, you guys, next weekend. And so that is why we're not listing on Saturday the 6th, because my 40th high school reunion, I can't even believe I'm saying that. 40 years. That math doesn't seem to math. Math doesn't seem to math. All right, so I also have lots of rub-ons that I can use. So let's see. I'm gonna actually, I think, come in with a black to start because I'd like to put something under here. So what might I use? Obviously, I won't use Hello Spring because it's not spring anymore. I think I'm going to come in and use this Remember This. That Remember This will fit kind of really nicely in there. So I'm going to come around here and grab the Remember This. You guys, your rub-ons will last I mean, you've got a lot of rub-ons every season pass. So the idea behind the rub-ons is with the two sheets, we have the colored sheet, right? That's separated kind of into the 3 months. And then you have that black sheet. So your black sheet can go with everything. Yeah, Louisa, didn't you know I graduated from high school when I was 12? Right? I wish. No, I graduated from high school in 1986. Well, that would be the same, but even if I was 12, I still graduated in 1986. That's why it's 40 years, but no. I was regular high school age when I graduated, which means this year I am turning 58 years old. You guys, I can't even believe I'm saying that. That just seems so, I don't know. This is going to be an interesting year for me. 57, there's something it's not logical, but there's something in my head. The jump from 57 to 58 seems to be really a big one. So, yeah. All right, there we go. I like how that sits there. That little Remember This just kind of nestles right in there. I think we can also use summer. Maybe we'll put summer over here. Let's see. Where might it go? You know where it could go? What if it goes? I better grab my tweezers because I don't want to commit to anything. Can it come over here, here, here? Oh, I like it. How about there? I like it kind of sitting right there. Now, I will use a lot of my leftovers on my calendar because I have more than one set of everything, right? I have to have multiple sets. Usually I have 4 or 5 sets of every season pass because I have to have two for our traveler's notebooks, right? One when I design it and then one when I teach it. And then I like to use them in my lists as well. So I will probably be pretty generous here in the amount of product I am using on my calendar. But because that's why I have other sets that I will use in my list later. Virginia, I love that. You turned 75 on May 1st and ever so happy. What a great perspective you have. I love that. And your first daughter was born in 1986. I know, Denise, I know you've been around the sun. You've been around one more sun at least, I believe, than I have. So I know I should, you know what? Here's the deal. It's all in your head, right? It's ages in your head. You can be old in your head or you can be young in your head, no matter how what your physical age is, right? I don't let it get to me. All right, the other thing I'm going to do, this is something that all of the season pass rub-ons have, and they have them for the full year. Well, you'll have them, all 12 months. this little kind of checklist. So for June, summer vibes, vacation days, sunny skies, road trip mode, and weekend getaway. So that I am going to put right. Maybe I'll put it down here. No, I'll put it up here. This was not planned. I asked Becky, I'm like, Becky, did you plan this? And she's like, I wish I could say I was that smart to plan it. It just so happens that these little checklists fit perfectly in between the lines right here. I mean, yeah. I like to say that we're really forward thinking on some things like that, but no, that was not the case. It's just dumb luck. So I think that's always kind of a fun way to use those little pieces. But the other thing that would be fun, we have a list coming up. We're not quite there yet. We'll probably do it in 2 weeks when we're listing together again. So we'll probably do it on the 13th. But every season, I like to do a list in my traveler's notebook on the things I am looking forward to that season. So this one would be things I'm looking forward to this summer. That would be a really fun little decorative accent to add to a list like that, right? Because I am looking forward to all of those things. Weekend getaway, summer vibes, vacation days, sunny skies, road trip mode, and a weekend getaway. I have all those things in this summer. All right, what else do I want to do? I don't have any birthdays in the month of June. So that doesn't really apply there. So when I have things like that don't apply, you might be like, I don't need this month and birthdays and notes and ideas. I want to use this a totally different way. You know what I say? Grab a sticker. Word strip sticker works great to cover those things up. So what might we want to do here? How about, I know, I'd really like to rest and relax in June. I'm not good at that. I am not good at resting and relaxing. I don't really have that in me. So I can do that, and it just covers that right up like that. So if you have something that doesn't work for you, just cover it up. What else do we want to do here? I'll put a little strawberry there because I kind of don't like that black there, that little black piece now that's kind of hanging out there. So let's put a little strawberry there. This is always me, just this is ad-libbing, right? I have had no plan. I have no, obviously it's not done. I don't know how, I wanted to use any of this. So I'm just looking at things and figuring out what do I want to use. So I'm going to do the same thing with this little rainbow, but I don't really want to have the stamp part of the rainbow. I am going to cut away the little stamp part. So I just have it. Actually, can I do this? I can. I'm just going to kind of have the rainbow. With your rub-ons, we used rub-ons this week. Those of you that were with me in the Let's Go mini book class, we use rub-ons on pocket pages. You can use rub-ons on a lot of different things. Sometimes I use rub-ons on photos. So don't get stuck thinking that your rub-ons can only be used on paper. They take on a totally different look if you put them on a photo or if you put them on something clear. All right, let's see where this should go. How about that? It'll go on my mani-pedi day. I have an excuse to always, I have an excuse to always get a manicure every 3 weeks. I have to. You know why? Because you see my hands all of the time. And imagine if you were watching my hands working all the time and my nails were bitten down to the core and, things didn't look very nice. So I have to get a manicure every 3 weeks. Imagine that. I have to. Gosh darn it. I have to. They do look good on acetate clear. Let me show you. Just to give you some other ideas. This is the class I taught earlier this week. That's a free class too. So it's a much longer free class. That one altogether is probably maybe about 8 hours, I think. But look at that. That is a rub on that little clear plastic center of that bag. Isn't that fun? So you can put a rub on anything. We also did a rub on. I've used it all throughout here. That we put a rub on. We fussy cut that piece out. No, that was a die cut. We put the rub on top of that die cut. Um, Rub-ons like you'd think to use them. But I even did, let me go here to the back. I even did rub-on on one of my pocket pages. Oh, right here. That little observations, I did that on the top of the pocket page. So when we pull that out, kind of fun. You have seen me, if you've been with us for my Saturday listing or Saturday listing sessions, you've seen me use rub-ons on photos. And you may not have even caught that that's what I was doing. Let's see here if I can find one of those because they look really cool when you put them on photos. Some people are, sometimes we don't quite think about putting them on photos. Let's see if I've got one in here. I will pull out let me pull out this guy. Let's look at our glimmers lists from last year. So I'm pulling out the idea book. I'll go to page 19. There we go. Those are rub-ons that just rubbed right onto the photo. So easy to do. It's just like doing it on a piece of paper. So remember, you can do things on photos and that turns really cool, right? That background is a photo at the beach, but that looks like I had mad Photoshop skills, right? That I could, put that art on a photo and then print it out. I didn't. I just did it, rub on a photo. There's another one. That little rain, rain, go away. That is also rub on. That is also rub on right there on my photo, Glorious Days. This one too, I like putting them on photos in the sunshine. So just a very cool thing that you can do with your rub-ons. Then it becomes almost like it's a stamp, right? Your rub-ons in that case almost look like they're stamps. Way easier to put a rub-on a photo than it is to stamp on a photo. You know what? So Denise, I don't write it off. Back to manicure, I do not write it off. I am very cautious about writing things like that off because it is for me, it's a business expense. I mean, I use my hands and you guys see my hands. I don't know if the IRS would quite agree with that. They might think it was a little bit of a stretch, right? So I don't write it off. But it's an excuse. I just say I have to do it. All right. So I think the last thing I will do here, I feel like I need a little bit more color. We've got a lot of red and blue. So when I look at our stamps, I think, what could I do to add color? I am going to add June. I'm going to stamp June down here. And then I am going to probably stamp, I can still use the V's and I will use the flowers and maybe even butterfly. So my table's going to shake again for a minute there while I open that drawer. I'm going to pull back out the colors that we used earlier. And I'm actually going to add one more color that we didn't use. And that was the yellow. Squeezed lemonade was another color that matches, coordinates with the collection. I think I'll start with that one. And I think with that one, I'm going to use the flowers. The flowers are pretty dense. Yellow is sometimes hard to see. So if I've got dense little guys there, that might make it a little bit easier to see as opposed to if I did it with the bees. And I just start looking, where do I feel like I need a little bit of color? Maybe right there. And then maybe we'll also add it. How about right there? Okay. Then let's go to the bees. My bees don't have to be yellow, right? I could do orange bees. I'm going to do orange bees. I better clean this off so I can use it. Denise said I add some pattern paper in. Oh, I love that idea, Denise. So, what Denise is saying, she takes a little bit of the pattern paper and cuts it to fit in the squares, right? Oh, that's really fun. Hello, Jolene, 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 Jolene. Nice to see you. Let's add maybe a little bit of color right there. And maybe we'll add just a few more bees down there. Look how cute that is, right? We have our stamps, we might as well use them. And they take on a totally different look based on what color that we stamp. If I stamped those in green, they would look totally different than if I stamped them in orange. I mean, you know what? You wouldn't have to use anything. If you just used different color inks with your stamps, it would totally add a bunch of color, right? So, and that gave me an idea of something that Denise said that I think I'm going to do. Get that cleaned off so I can continue to use my same stamping block. This guy, I'm gonna do a pink, little bit of a pink guy here. I like we need some color right in there. Pink. And I don't want to do any pink up there because I already have that pink. What if we just put our little butterfly right there? Ah, okay. I would not have done that again because I've now got two pink butterflies side by side. I mean, it's not a big deal, but that's generally something that I wouldn't do. I would look at a different place to put that. Oh, okay. I cleaned that and then did not dry it before I put the ink on. So let me do that. But maybe we'll have a little, if we just put a little pink butterfly right there. Cute. Okay. I'm going to do one more color. I'm going to get a little bit of green in here because we've got green here and it looks like we're kind of missing some green. So maybe we'll do some green flowers. And then I'll do one more thing after that and then we will be done. We will be done for this evening. And then some of you might decide to see me. Oh, that's pink, Lael. Some of you might decide to see me again this week because we are listing this Saturday. Um, I didn't quite get the email finished before we started class tonight, so that is what I will be doing. Oh my gosh. Sometimes at night when I'm talking and trying to work at the same time, it was not making any sense. But yeah, we'll be listing on Saturday. So some of you might even have me, oh my gosh, 4 times this week, which would be fun if you join us on Saturday. Oh, I love those flowers green. Aren't those pretty? They're really pretty that way. And I feel like maybe we should put another one about right there. And then maybe we want to work in some green over here. Let's see, where would we put that? Maybe we'll just put it, how about right here? Little cluster down there. All right, so my calendar is pretty full. Well, it's not pretty full, but it's pretty full between what I've got going on and now the decorating, right? Last thing. So Denise said sometimes she cuts the pattern paper to use. So we have a couple of different ways we could do that. We could cut this and put it in a square if we wanted, or one of the rectangles, but we could also come in and do something like this guy. I think I'm going to use this guy. I'm looking for something that is kind of tall and maybe narrow. This, especially this piece of paper can go really far because it's just got so many great little pieces of art on it. Oopsie, came out of my slipcover. So that guy could just come into any of these, right? Anywhere I haven't opened something or other. Could go there. It could even span 2 days like that. I don't know. I feel like maybe we'll go right there. Let's put that one right there. And then one more little thing I want to do here. These strips, oh my gosh, make me so happy. So that that almost looks like a little piece of washi, right? You've got a couple of different um, iterations of little strips like this. So we've got this little rainbow one that's similar to the paper. You have that little one. We had a little die cut like that. You've got that guy. You've got this narrower strip. You even have this strip. So many different things that we could do here. cut out some of these strips and figure if we want to use them anywhere. D, maybe we'll just do that guy right there. There's no right or wrong way to do this, right? You just put it down where you think it looks good, and then you're like, oh, that's fine. That looks good. I'm good. Oh, wait. Well, no, I better separate that now. If I don't separate that now, then I will forget. And then later I'll be like, what's wrong? Why isn't that working? Okay. I love this little guy. That reminds me of the Polaroid. Remember the Polaroid logo way back in the day that had a little guy like that? Sure. Let's put him there. This could also go vertically somewhere, right? It doesn't have to be horizontal. It could be a vertical. I don't know. Seems to me like it's a horizontal guy, so we'll make him horizontal. Where was it going? Yeah, right there. Okay, there we go. There's my calendar for the month of June. All right, my friends, I'm going to rotate the camera, and we'll say our goodbyes until Saturday, right? I may see you on Saturday. We're going to shake a little bit there. Do you rest and relax on your RV trips? Susan, yes and no. Um, we were gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We got home Monday night. We pretty much drove most of the day on Thursday to get down to where we were going in southern Utah. Um, Friday, we went into Monument Valley, which is amazing. So we were pretty much out and about all day Friday. Saturday, we kind of hung out at camp where our RV was because we're in the middle of nowhere. We are boondocking, so we're literally in the middle of nowhere. Sunday, we drove to Colorado and went to Mesa Verde National Park, which that was a full, very long day. All those days, we get at least 10,000 steps. So we usually get up, have our coffee in the morning, go out and walk, and then come back. And then we're, in a national park or Monument Valley or wherever we are. So we try to be active when we're on those trips. So there's a little bit of R&R, but there's usually a lot of go, go, go too. So it just depends. Just depends. All right, my friends, there you go. There you go. Denise said, see how cute it is? Remember me, I use it all of it up. I know. Denise does. Denise uses, I don't know if you still do now with season pass. I know in the past when I was doing the bi-monthlies, Denise, I know you used it all up. Denise, oh, I just remembered too. I also word strip stickers I could throw in there, right? Anyhow, I'll call it good. But Denise used to use every single piece in a kit. Every single piece. She had nothing that went to waste, which was really cool. And then sometimes she'd let her grandkids play with. If she had little bits and pieces left over, she'd let her grandkids play, which I always thought was fun too. All right, friends. So we're done with our setup for June. I will tell you, I already have the date planned for the July Traveler's Notebook setup. July Traveler's Notebook setup will be with the summer fall season pass. That one goes live on the website on Friday, June 5th. And you'll see lots of information about this, so don't, panic right now. Well, don't ever panic, but don't panic right now. We will be doing the July Traveler's Notebook setup on Thursday, July 25th. I mean, June 25th. June 25th. It's right there in my little calendar. All right, friends, I'm going to go eat some dinner and relax and get our email out. A little bit of relax, but get the email out for sure for Saturday. And I hope to see you next month in June when we do the July setup. Stay tuned for that. I can't wait to fully share all of summer fall with you guys because I think you're going to really like it. Some of the same design style, obviously, same design style, same designer, some of the same elements that we have carried through from season pass to season pass, month to month, but some new fun things too. All right. Take care, you guys. Bye bye. Bye. I could stand here and just talk to you guys forever, obviously. So I'm going to cut myself off. I'm done cutting myself off. Bye bye.